Hi, this is Margaret O'Brien from dataminingdna.com. Back in December, I put out a video about the newly launched feature of MyHeritage genetic groups. I was really pleased with it. One thing that I said in my video, and I repeated in the companion article, I had a wish list for improvements. And here, top of the wish list, well, I'll go to the number 2 item is, please, MyHeritage, give us a filter on the DNA match list page for genetic groups. And lo and behold, MyHeritage have now added the genetic groups to the filter. So if I come over here to MyHeritage, pull up my DNA matches, and over here under filters, over on the right, you see new all genetic groups. What I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to take it for a spin. So it's still quite new to me, but from what I'm seeing, I'm really liking the discoveries that I can make. So one thing I will point out is that for me, I have possibly a small number of genetic groups. I have 3. You may have many more. As you can see, all my 3 genetic groups relate to Ireland. Half my heritage is Irish, the other half is African. I have no genetic groups related to my African heritage. So here, this top genetic group here, Ireland, Cavan and Leitrim, that is naming 2 counties in a small country. It's crazily accurate. Then we get a little broader, and once you're in that area of Northern Ireland, what you're getting is a lot of emigration and immigration, particularly to Scotland, particularly to England. And then the one that kind of I haven't quite figured out yet is Ireland, UK, and Germany. The next thing I was wondering is, well, let me just draw a picture. Okay, so this is what I'm interested in taking a look at. Take this big square here. All my DNA matches fall somewhere in this big square. In terms of the circles, we have a set here of matches that theoretically, if I had genetic groups labeled African, my DNA matches that had a genetic group that was African would fall within this yellow circle. Over here, now the 3, they are all related to Ireland. So what I've drawn is 3 circles that overlap somewhat. If I have matches that belong to all 3 of these groups, they're going to fall into this intersection here where all 3 circles meet. Say I have DNA matches that fall into both, they both have the Cavan and Leitrim group and they have the Northern Ireland Scotland group. They're going to fall into this intersection here if they don't have Ireland, UK and Germany. So that's what I'm looking at now when I go and take my kind of first look at the genetic groups in MyHeritage. And it kind of got pretty interesting for me. I'm quite pleased with the new information that I'm getting that can steer some new research opportunities. So MyHeritage have answered my wish, but here's my next wish. In order to check which DNA matches fall into 1, 2 or 3 groups, it would be much easier to do this with a spreadsheet. MyHeritage allows us to download our DNA matches. My next question was, it would be great if they've added the genetic groups into that spreadsheet. So we can take a look. When you're on your DNA matches page, if you want to download a CSV file of your matches, just go export entire DNA matches. And it comes into your email. So what headings I've got, if I just scroll over, they haven't got around to adding in another column with a list of the genetic groups. Okay, I will be coming back to the spreadsheet and show you some neat ways of actually using it in conjunction with the website. But let's just see what we can do with the website view alone, because it's actually really quite useful. So what I'm going to do is I am going to filter this page on the first of my genetic groups, Cavan and Leitrim. Notice that, well, at the moment with these filters, you can't say, well, I actually want that and that. You basically take all or one. I'll just go back to the first one so I don't confuse myself. And I'll just show you just a neat little kind of visual way of working with this display. So at the moment I'm filtered on the first of those 3 groups. I'm simply going to duplicate this tab. So right click the tab. I'm in Chrome. You can do this in any browser. You'd be right clicking up here somewhere and there'll be a duplicate option in the menu. Okay. And what that does is it opens up the same page, and you see how the filter is already set. I am going to change this filter to Ireland, Northern Ireland, Scotland and England. Then, because I only have 3 groups, I'm going to do this one more time, duplicate. And now I'm going to set this filter to the last one, Ireland, UK, and Germany. So that gives me the three lists open side by side, or tab by tab. And now I'm going to do a visual inspection. So first things first, my top match, he's in the Cavan and Leitrim group. He's in the Northern Ireland, Scotland and England group. On this third group, that my top match is nowhere to be found. I can say, okay, I don't have a problem where all my matches are here. Here I spent a bit of time scrolling and comparing and checking which groups had the lowest number of matches, which two groups overlapped the most with each other, and which groups were the most exclusive. So, what my next step is, I like using spreadsheets. What I am going to do is, I'm going to hide the columns that I don't need to use right now. Now I will just clean this up a little bit. Auto fit row height. Now I'm going to just do a little trick for the purpose of this video only. I'm going to give myself another column here, and I'm going to capture the first name. Just type in Mark Philip. At this point, you can see that gives me the first name, and I'll just hide the full name. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give myself 3 new columns. This was Cavan and Ireland, Cavan and Leitrim. I mean, this one was NI Scott Ing, and the third one was UK Germany. And I'm simply going to work my way through my top X number of matches until I get tired. And I'm going to just put in Y or N, and then I can filter on the combination. So I've got my group 1, group 2, and group 3 over to my spreadsheet. So I have a mark right at the top. Mark isn't appearing in the filter for group 1, not appearing for group 2 or group 3. You get the no, no, no. Next is Philip. Philip is in group 1, group 2, but not in group 3. We got yes, yes, and no. So now I have the yes, no details filled in. I can filter on them. The first thing I'm going to look at is how many of these matches share all 3 groups. So I'll just put a filter on the group 3 here. And now I'm going to say, well, for group 3, I'm going to say yes, must be in group 3. Well, that very quickly tells me my answer. I was going to then put a filter onto group 2 and then put a filter on group 1, but I can see straight away that there are no matches that fall into all 3 groups, partly because group number 3 is quite sparsely populated. I'll take off the filter on group 3. I'm now interested in how many matches are in group 1. 23 out of the 80 are in group 1. Of the matches who are in group 1, how many of them are also in group 2? Say yes to group 2. That brings it down to 15. Then if I take off, I'm interested to see how many of my matches are exclusively in group 1. And group 1 is the smallest, it's the tightest of the groups. It's only 2 counties. So if I set this to take off the yes and set it to no, 7 of my matches are only in group 1 and they are not in group 2. Those 7 matches are well worth investigating. Now, the usefulness of your match depends on a number of things, in particular the size of the tree. But right beside has family tree, there's the number of individuals. I'm just going to change that column heading to tree size, make it a bit smaller. And just bring that in so I can get it all on the one screen. And you can kind of see that of these 7, well, 2 of the matches have a tree size of 1. Having said that, we have some really nice big trees here, and I will open up these trees. I can see if they have branches that are coalescing, if you like, on a location. So that is useful. The exclusivity within a group, I think, is going to be a useful avenue for research. I'm going to take off the filters now, and I'm just going to show you a little trick just to give a little extra speed or boost to your research. See this tree size? So I've highlighted the column. I'm going to add some conditional formatting. I'm going to highlight the cell when it's greater than, and I'm going to say 20. What that does is it gives me an indication as to the useful ones and the non-useful ones. I'll take a look at here now, exclusive to Northern Ireland, Scotland and England, group number 2. So we've got a yes here, no here, and these are all no's anyway. Only 3, is that right? Yeah. See, this column is called view tree. Let's widen that. It's got the URL of the tree. You can just Control C, go to your browser tab, paste, boom. That's going to open, yeah, there I am into the tree. Over here, where is it now? Review the DNA match page. So if you actually want to go and look at the DNA match, this one opens the actual DNA match and you can look at shared matches. I'd be interested in seeing if they shared matches with each other. Again, I'd be interested in looking at locations in their tree. Okay, hope that helps and best of luck with your research.